You have seen examples as to how to expand brackets similar to this example earlier in this playlist. In this video, I am going to show an approach that gives you visual cues, but the approach is essentially still using FOIL. So I'll move on to the next slide so we can consider the visual cues approach to expanding these two brackets. The x multiplies this x. The x then multiplies the 3, making sure you take note of the sign in front. Then the 7 multiplies the x, making sure you take note of the sign in front. And then the 7 multiplies the 3, again making sure you take note of the signs in front. Now this is essentially the FOIL method, but it's using these arrows to give you visual cues that should help you remember the order in which you really should be doing these calculations. Just be consistent when you're doing calculations, that way you reduce your chances of making mistakes. So I'll move on to the next slide and show how to expand these brackets using the visual cues. The x multiplies the x, and this will give x squared, so we write x squared down. Now, there were no signs in front of both x's, and there's no sign here. So that implies that we're dealing with positive x squared. You then consider the arrow where the x will multiply the 3. And, of course, if you look at the sign in front, it's plus 3. So we know that this is positive because it hasn't got a sign in front. Remember, if there's no sign in front, it means it's positive. So the x times the plus 3 will give us plus 3x. You then consider the next visual cue, which is this, which is really positive 7 multiplying positive x, and this will give positive 7x. And then the next visual cue tells us to multiply the 7 by the 3, which is 21. And of course, you can see there's a positive in both cases, and a positive times a positive is a positive. So this will give us plus 21. You then consider the like terms, which are these two, and plus 3x plus 7x gives us plus 10x. So you write that down. And then the other terms, well, you simply bring those down. And this is the expansion of these two brackets here.